All right, well, here we are. Started Unit 2, Module 2, Week 2, Session 2, whatever you want to call it. You made it. You made it through Week 1. Let me talk about a couple things, okay? I know that online learning can be confusing, but you're doing a great job. Keep up the great work, okay? So if you feel like you're behind, if you're like, man, I didn't get everything turned in, my books haven't arrived, just remember I posted a second video that if you click in Modules, and you click on Unit 1, you will see under Unit 1, there's a section where it says Instructor's Video. There are actually 2 videos in the first module, okay? So every time I post a video, there's a little box I check, and when I check that box, it's supposed to then notify all students that a change has been made to that specific section of the module. Change is that an additional video was posted. Okay. Sometimes students don't get it. You've turned notifications off. If you've done that in Canvas and you don't get any of my notifications, that's a big problem. These videos are gold. I had a student write today and said, I'm so grateful for the videos because I've been in other online classes and the faculty just, they've not that they don't want to be helpful, but they just don't post videos because they are doing other things. You know, I've been doing this a long time. And I've read books. I've been in trainings. I've been with these folks that my livelihood is to do career development work. Currently, I was a faculty member full time for a number of years. I'm not. I guess I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I'm not formally trained in how to be the best online instructor. I've been trained. I've actually completed graduate coursework and a graduate program in teaching in higher education, specific to coursework development and so forth. But online education is a different ballgame. And so when I thought about this online education realm, what I wanted to do from a teaching standpoint, the thing that made sense to me was be as explicit and clear as possible to my students. So give my students a 21-page syllabus. Make sure that everything that you need is in there, right? Be as explicit as possible in the actual course itself, in the modules and the assignments and so forth. And one of the reasons that people like face-to-face education so much is because they actually get to hear and see and sometimes touch, if not actually touch, but like in proximity-wise, they're close to the faculty. They know the professor and what their expertise is and what they're teaching, and they can ask questions. And so right now, I'm here, and you can see I'm bouncing all over the screen. It's probably annoying to you, and you're hearing these intonations in my voice, and you're like, dude, bro, just calm down. But I'm alive, right? I'm this live person. I'm not some machine. I'm not artificial intelligence teaching the class. And I do these are brand new videos. It's an extra work, but I do brand new videos. So I want to get to know who my students are and what your needs are. Brand new videos every single time I teach this class, which frankly is probably really foolish because it takes a lot of time, right? Especially if I'm teaching multiple classes, I'm making multiple videos. But I'm the instructor, and that's my job, is to instruct and to give guidance and to be as clear as I can. And so these videos, they're gold, and they're so important that you watch them and you listen to them and you take the information, right? So I've been in classes and people, their instructors are, they're droning on and on and on and on. And you're falling asleep. It's just like, it's awful. I'm like, this is terrible. This isn't helpful at all. You're literally reading the content from the slides that are in front of me that I can read because I'm in grad school. You're literally reading the words off of the slides and just hitting next. And that's not helpful for anybody, right? I don't want to listen to myself read those things. And you definitely don't want to listen to me read those things. So what I do in these videos is I kind of just I'm the cruise guide, like whatever that name is. I'm the person that's like running your cruise ship, right? I'm the entertainer. I'm the coordinator. I'm the event coordinator, right? So this is an event, and I'm helping you. I'm guiding you through this learning experience, right? So that's the point of these videos. And if you don't watch them, then you miss out. And then you ask these questions, and don't be surprised. It's not because I'm trying to be condescending or rude. That's not it at all. It's just that if you're asking questions, and I do say, hey, did you watch the videos or read the syllabus? It's not because I don't want to answer the questions, because the syllabus and the videos are there to help you, right? They're there to clarify for you. And so don't be surprised if you ask a question. If I have gone over it in the video or I have included specifics in the syllabus, I'm going to probably say, hey, why don't you go check out the syllabus? Or why don't you watch the video? In fact, I had this happen with a class I'm currently in, a tests and measurements class. And I asked the instructor a question, and their response was probably easiest to answer your question by sending you the syllabus again. And I thought that's a great answer, right? Because the answer to my question was literally in the syllabus. Now, she didn't fully understand the question I was being asked because there was more to it than just what's the assignment look like. But I understood what she was doing, because if the question were what she had interpreted it to be, what I needed to know was, it was in the syllabus, right? So I'll probably write back if that's the case, right? If there's other questions that need additional clarification, I'm happy to provide that for you. But always start with the video and the syllabus, okay? All right, so once again, remember that everything from week 1, if it's not been submitted yet, you have until Wednesday of this week, but starting today, Monday, the first day of Module 2 of Unit 2 of Week 2, everything is due as assigned, okay? So your initial posts to the discussions, they're due Wednesday at midnight. Your response to your classmates due Sunday at midnight, 2 of them, right? All the papers, all the assignments, everything is due by the time frame it's due, okay, or it's assigned, okay? So if you look at Unit 2, you've got the well-being response paper that's due at the end of this unit. You have Schwen and Bass, the entry and discussion that's due first your post by Wednesday at midnight, your 2 responses to your 2 separate classmates due Sunday at midnight. And remember, this is engaged back and forth conversation, okay? Got it? Okay, you're reading Tang chapters 2 and 3. You're going to finish the entirety of Well-Being by Rath and Harder, and then you'll read part 1 from Schwen and Bass. Now, here's the thing. If you haven't caught it already, the assigned readings are in the back of the syllabus that you'll find in the appendix, right? So it's Appendix A, I think it is. There's 2 appendices in there. So Appendix, let me get there so I can make sure that I'm giving you the right information. Appendix A lists out the specific assigned readings from each of the parts. So for part 1, it's titled Vocabularies. You have Solitude of Self, Making the Match Career Choice, Vocation as Grace, and there's an optional reading called The Place of Responsibility, okay? So when you look at the actual section, it's not everything. There's specific portions of those sections that are due for reading, okay? So that's going to then be helpful to make sure you're reading those specific pieces from the specific part of Schwen and Bass, because your response will be based upon the questions I'm asking are asking based upon the readings that have been assigned. Okay? All right, so I hope that's clear. So, and everything is due, your Schwen and Bass, Wednesday, your post, Sunday, engaged conversation, the case study, or you'll see starting in Unit 3, you have an exercise in some of the units. Those are all due by the end of the unit, okay? Well-being response, due at the end of the unit as well, all right? So I hope that's clear. So everything from now on is due on the assigned date, okay? Hope that's real clear. The topic, you'll see there's always a topic, work in a global context and cross-cultural perspectives in career development. I'm really excited for starting in Unit 3. You will start to read a book by Jay Liptak, right? So this guy Liptak, he's prolific in the career development space. In this test and measurements class I'm completing right now, this is my last week of the course, and I've completed so many assessments that Liptak is actually the author of. I mean, this dude is a giant in the career development space. I love what's happening, what he's put out. And this book that you'll be reading, it's super simple, it's super straightforward. When I started to use the book, I think the class, kind of the direction and the quality and the content, it just shifted because I think it came to be more in line with what MFT students were used to completing. So I hope that you'll find this book to be super helpful. All right. So I'm excited about that content. So just a couple other reminders, things to think about, okay? So when you get into the modules, if you just go through, so you got your instructor video, that's what the video I'm doing right now. There's some other videos in Unit 2. There's one from Jim Harder, the co-author of Wellbeing. on well-being. There's 3 articles. So well-being in the workplace. This is what happens to your body when you hate your job. Whew, that was a hard one to read. And then there's your career well-being and your identity. There's an optional discussion, so things that you can chime in if you want to. There's your Schwen and Bass entering discussion number 2, case study number 2, and then of course your well-being response paper is due. Here's the beauty of how modules are set up. Okay, and this is what I love about it. So if you get into the module and you're clicking through, you can just kind of basically systematically go through each of the different things that are due in the module, right? You get to the end, like I'm looking right now at I think it's the second to last assigned kind of section in module 2, case study number 2, right? So I see the questions, I see what it relates to in the Tang text, I write my response. You don't have to engage in conversation, you just write what you would say, and then you get to the bottom and you click on next. Okay, click on next, and it takes me to the next assignment, which is the well-being response paper. So everything you need to know is all, again, as I mentioned, focus on what's due in that specific unit, and just click on next. Go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Super straightforward, right? So I hope that's helpful. There's a lot that's packed into this class. I want to remind you, if you feel like, man, I'm actually spending a lot of time online in this class, that's fine, that's good, that's how it should be. If we were so if you think about it this way, and I think I may have mentioned portions of this, if we were in a 15, 16 week traditional semester long course, okay? So because of the time frame, you would be in class, per class, 3 hours every single week. Okay, so 3 hours per week for 15 weeks. That's 45 hours, okay? And you have your final and so forth. Final week, which, in a program like this, typically it's a paper or something like that. At least in my class it is. It always was. But 45 hours of 45 contact hours of actual instruction, right, when you're in class. So if you cut that down and take it from a 16-week semester to an 8-week semester, now all of a sudden what we're looking at is doubling the amount of time that we'd be in class. If you were in a face-to-face class, which I'm sure many of you actually are, if you're in a face-to-face class, your seat time goes from 3 hours in a traditional semester to 6 hours in a summer 8-week term. Okay, so if you're spending upwards of 6 hours in the online classroom, that's okay. That's how it should be. Online education does not mean less work and less time. In fact, sometimes it can mean more work and more time if you do it well, right? And I would say this, if the class is designed well, it will help the student to do online education well. If it's poorly designed, then the experience that you may have may be a poor one. My hope is that you will find this to be a good experience because, again, as I've mentioned, as an information broker, this intellectual middleman, I'm bringing information that's available to the masses, making it more palatable and bite-sized so that you can then kind of digest the content according to what I believe is the most important content on these specific topics. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. We're still, again, just kind of dipping our toes into the water. We're the first day of Unit 1. We've got 7 weeks left, which is insane. And this term is going to absolutely fly by, which is why I'm so dead set on making sure that things are submitted by the due dates and not after. Okay? Focus on the unit at hand. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, remember, I may say check out the syllabus or watch the video, but I'll answer when I can. But if it's already been covered, then I'll probably remind you just to go back to those things. The other thing I didn't mention in the first week is I want to mention this week. If you go to the home page and click on a video called the Backwards Brain Bicycle, I put that video there front and center as the first thing I want you to see when you log in the class because I think that's such a powerful video about the fixed mindset versus this more malleable. There's some terminology that Carol Dweck uses out of Stanford. But what sort of mindset do you have, right? Are you one that you're willing to, this neuroplasticity, this I want to unlearn some things that I've learned so I can relearn some new things. And maybe this unlearning has already started to transpire, right? I had a student that last semester said all sorts of things about how he thought one thing about career development and he learned so many new things in this class. I hope that that's your experience as we journey together in this class as well.